And we're back. Now, if you can tear yourself away from all the cricket this weekend, remember the 2011 season of F1 has begun. A couple of weeks ago, Force India hopefuls Adrian Sutil, Paul Di Resta and Nico Hülkenberg were in town. We caught up with them for a bit of a chat. Here's what they had to say. Guys, welcome to the show. The new season is barely like 12 days away. What's new for us? What's new for us Formula fans this year?
This year there's been a number of changes in Formula One, rule changes. The KER system has come back, which is like a hybrid system that would normally be on a normal road car. We have it installed in the car and we're allowed to use it for between 6 and 7 seconds a lap.
You guys have obviously tried this wing, the movable wing out. How does it affect downforce?
It affects quite a lot, the downforce. So we had similar systems in the car last year with the F-duct, so-called, but it wasn't this big difference. So now it's a big difference, put it in numbers of, let's say, around 200 to 250 kilos of downforce you lose on the straight, so it does make you go faster.
As I said, it's about 15 kilometers in top speed, so it's quite a big difference.
But you know, over the past 3 years, Force India has seen a very steady increase, you know, in terms of performance and ranking and things like that. Where do you see yourself at the end of this season?
Yeah, so we didn't change much at the team because it was already quite good and we don't have to change so much during the winter. Now it's important to get the heads down and try to improve the car. I think every area is sorted out, we have good people around, the management is all working, everybody knows what to do. And we concentrate on our downforce area, absolutely, to make the car go quicker. We have good partners with Mercedes and McLaren. And let's see, end of the season, we want to be better than last year. Last year was 7th. We missed out by 1 point compared to Williams. This year we want to be at least 6th. So it's a big target, but I'm pretty sure it's possible to achieve it.
Now in October this year, there's a brand new track in Delhi. You know, how do you guys as drivers really mentally prepare yourself for that new track? Is there any procedure that you go through?
Well, like any new track, it's the same challenge for everybody. It's a bit different for us. India obviously is a huge inspiration to us because the background we have with Force India and the Grand Prix coming back to India. The engineers are already doing simulations. We as drivers will get a chance to drive it on the simulator beforehand.
Normally we go to the simulator where there's a, almost like a PlayStation but much better, much more developed. We sit in the car and have a good laser scan of the circuit, so very accurate track.
But at the same point, you have to go to every Grand Prix prepared as best as possible. Obviously, we would like to do a bit better because it is, a home Grand Prix to us. But there's a huge task in hand, and we'll just do our best to do the best job for Force India.
Okay. Now, out of all the existing tracks, which is your favorite track, Adrian?
I always like fast corners, so that's why I always mention Spa at first. And I had very good results there, so it all comes together.
And it has a special atmosphere and a special challenge for drivers.
What about among the new tracks? Now, over the past 5 years, we've had tracks opening up in Singapore, opening up in Bahrain, opening up in Abu Dhabi. What about among the newer tracks? What about those? How would you rate them?
I think Korea was quite a good circuit actually last year. It all was quite late, so it was not in best conditions, but they did a pretty amazing job at least to make it ready for the race.
It's just coming out of a long period of downtime and you're entering a new season right now. How do you guys keep the edge, up while you're not racing, competitively at least?
Well, I would disagree with downtime. The winter is one of the busiest times of the year, probably the busiest time. It's the most important part to make sure you gather all the information you've done the year before to influence that into your new car design. There's a lot of simulations going on, a lot to prepare, get your fitness level up.
That's why we do a lot of practice in the McLaren simulator, trying to keep the edges and to keep us sharp. Obviously, next to the normal physical training we do. And then we're all waiting for the season to begin again.
What is it about go-karting that makes it so special to professional race car drivers?
Go-karting is the best school to learn driving. You can start at a young age and learn the basics about racing. Of course, it's changing quite a lot when you go to a race car. A race car is very different to a go-kart, but normally all the people, all the kids who race in a go-kart quite competitive. They're good in formula cars or touring cars, so in proper competitive challenging categories.
Speed is so different, but you have to remember how short the tracks are.
What would you advise, kids out there to do when they go out for like an evening out?
Well, it's definitely not advisable. Everybody knows what the effects of alcohol are. Driving and drinking just doesn't mix. You have to think of everybody else in this world. There's a lot of children about, and you could seriously make a wrong mistake. And I'm sure the guilt would not be able to last with you if you've done that.
If there was no technical committee of the FIA, for instance, okay, hypothetically, what kind of changes would you guys make in your cars? In the car that you're driving right now, for instance? If there was no technical committee, if you could put in whatever you like.
Going back to the roots, to the old basic Formula 1 car and racing, is probably a good idea. Tires are very important, the mechanical grip you get from the tires. And I think big engines with a lot of horsepower is good for racing, and then you need to have some kind of boost button or function where you can have a few extra horsepower to be able to overtake.
Well, then you would see very different cars out there. They would look much different. They would have so much aerodynamics on there that you probably wouldn't be able to drive it anymore. So that's a reason why the FIA, they have to slow it down sometimes.
As drivers, as professional drivers, power or handling?
The handling is important. I think the G-force in the corners, when you have a high G-force, it's very enjoyable. You get very used to horsepower. You get used to engine power very quickly. So after driving in a little while with 800 horsepower, you think there's something wrong and it has only 600. So you get used to it very quickly, but the corners is always a big challenge.
Guys, thank you so much. We're moving now from the bleeding edge of international motorsport to something far more peaceful and definitely more elegant. An event that pays homage to the best that the auto industry has ever had to offer. Kailash Menon was at the Cartier Concours d'Elegance, and here's what he saw.
And now for my next number, I'd like to return to the classic.
They have no spoilers at the back. No carbon fiber on the inside. Classic. No cuts or creases on the body. I'm better than I ever been. Rock him, the feed of a mic. These are bygone beauties, classics, curvy, spooky, and not to mention wildly attractive. Welcome to the Cartier Travel with Style Concours d'Elegance 2011.
Definition of classic is
showcasing the history of vintage and classic cars and India's association with automobiles. India has had a long history as far as automobiles is concerned. And it is now that it's coming out and everybody is coming to know what a wonderful country this is as far as automobile culture is concerned.
56 rarest of the rare rides from all across India, preened and posed for the event.
Now usually on this show you see a lot of spanking new metal, but this is completely different. It's much like sitting in a time machine and being transported 100 years back. What you see right here is the evolution of engineering at its very best. Mind you, these cars might not be as fast and loaded with all the safety tech that cars today have, but what they boast and what they have in their corner is pure craftsmanship and passion.
There is one word which covers everything at this event, everything. Which covers the cars, it covers the owners, it covers the restoration, the people that restore the cars. There's only one word, which is passion.
Some were bold, some beautiful, and some were truly bizarre. But what really took the cake was the extravagant Maharaja mobiles. Case in point, the victorious 1911 throne car. But the wackiest amongst all the Rolls-Royce class was the bat-to-the-bone Maharaja hunting car.
It's a 7-seat hunting car, I think, with bars inside it, cocktail cabinets, and I mean, only a young rich Maharaja would have a bed in the back. I think that's great. He obviously liked women.
the concourse wasn't just about posh pompous Bentleys and bizarre Rolls Royce. The speed freaks had the legendary Jaguar E-Type to ogle on.
Now, if you ask my personal favorite, it has to be this 1973 Jaguar E-Type. I mean, look at this car. It's a perfect example of how you take race car pedigree and pack it into a street car. It's got a V12 engine. It's sexy. It's low slung. Look at this. I'm not a very big man, and it's almost a little higher than my knee. I mean, it's a car which you could look all day long, and mind you, it's wildly attractive, and in those days, it was affordable too.
The big caddies and the boisterous Chevys delivered a much-needed dose of Americana to otherwise a British-themed show. The Concourse 2011 had it all from the majestic Maharaja mobiles to the retro-cool Jaguars and the massive American machines. Each and every one a true jewel in India's car culture and motoring heritage.
Well, that was our show for this week. We hope you've had as much fun watching it as we did making it. Remember, you can catch the entire episode online at timesnow.tv or join the conversation at facebook.com/timesdrive. Till next week then, drive it like you stole it.